21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
For the last 3 years, I've been grappling with the idea that the age of AI is coming, and I need to deal with it. Not only do I need to deal with it, I need to capitalize on it. And not only am I grappling for the last 3 years, I've been doing so in the middle of a midlife crisis. I'm 42 years old, so this started when I was 39. And I live in a difficult region as it is. I've been working with 600 startup companies from their inception for the last 16 years. And I've seen innovation. I've missed the opportunities that I could have capitalized on in the past. This one is the biggest, but it's also the scariest. And that's what I've been dealing with for the last 2 years, just grappling with the age of AI. The result is that I'm not panicking. I'm actually happy and excited to meet it head on. So for the last 16 years, I've actually been a corporate lawyer. I've worked with over 600 companies, writing their contracts when they raised money from investors, when they founded the company and had founder agreements, when they had their first distribution and sales agreements, and eventually when they got sold or went public. That's what I've seen. I've been on the sidelines in every single professional startup game that I could see from Israel, which is the startup nation in many ways. And as someone on the sidelines who's also entrepreneurial, I've always wanted to take part in the game itself. I was once offered Bitcoins in 2012 for $1 a Bitcoin, and I refused. I missed the cyber revolution in Israel, the SaaS revolution here, and I only started playing with VR when it was a bit late. But I knew that my profession, professional services, something was about to change that profession at its core. A flood was coming to professional service providers like lawyers and bankers and brokers and corporate advisors and accountants. And I knew this because I saw that accountants were already changed when Excel and email came out. But when I saw GPT for the first time, I knew that it was almost like the earthquake had already happened in the middle of the ocean and a tsunami was on its way. And I was very happy that I could make a big change in my life over the course of the last year. Quit my role as a partner at my law firm, return my equity, and start a company called ARC, which is going to hopefully replace professional service providers in their current form with empowered business professionals who have excellent AI tools across all professional service verticals. It was very difficult for me to make this change in my lifestyle, giving up so many clients who are friends that I'm so passionate about, my partners at the firm who I love. It was very difficult. It needed a war here to give me proportions, and it needed me to journal my thoughts into something that eventually became a book that I published for the first time called Prompting Happiness, about the future of the pursuit of happiness and productivity in the age of AI. And I'm very excited both about ARC and about the book, which are both being launched this year. So this year is a year of profound change for me. I have replaced 350 productive hours a month in which I created contracts and emails for my clients with 350 hours in which I am an author, a published author who can speak about philosophical ideas as well as business ideas. And I'm also a CEO of at least one startup and a co-founder of another who are embedding artificial intelligence solutions into the profession that I once excelled at. This is huge change for me. The whole essence of the time that I spend has changed from chiseling at the tree to sharpening the saw, which is completely different. From being an enabler and a facilitator to being a creator and an initiator. I could say that this change, I don't think I would have been able personally to bring it about just by myself. It happened with friends and family who supported me. And as I said before, unfortunately, it also happened when I got a sense of proportionality about what's important in life when the war broke out in our region.
Saw you thinking like you lost your mind. Never thought it would be ending like this. Never thought I would be dreaming about your smile. Feeling how the chills are rushing up my spine. When I saw you dancing into the fire. Never thought I'd see you losing your mind.
I initially got a sense of proportions when the COVID pandemic came out and showed us that our lives could change in an instant. We could be in quarantines and stuff like that. But when what happened in Israel happened, that made me think that it's not such a big deal to take the risk, and I could trust myself to do so because life is short. And as someone I really love once said, you don't live once, you live for the last time. So that's something that has been a driver for me.
I saw you thinking like you lost your mind. Never thought it would be ending like this. Never thought I would be dancing in the fire. They call us crazy, say we lost our minds. We dancing but surrounded by flames. Never ending till the blaze burns down with us.
Even though the change that I brought about in my life, a lot of it came from external forces and from my understanding of where I think the business world will go, it still required first some work on myself. And working on myself to be ready for it, that was journaling my midlife crisis or journey, and that turned into the book Prompting Happiness. Prompting Happiness is actually a book that I'm very proud of. It is a collaborative project with artificial intelligence, with a large language model or a few. And the book basically starts with my theory from happiness. From when I was 18, I wrote a theory for happiness. I pulled it out of my diary. It was fortunately saved on my computer. It continues to explore our purpose as individuals and as a collective on this planet. It's not very sophisticated philosophy there, but I think it is useful and it touches upon a lot of history. It further explores my first interactions with GPT-3 and my commentary on those interactions and initial understanding of how large language models work. It goes into a part 3, which is a prophecy for the future of the world of business, the future of communities as a whole, countries as a whole, and families and individuals. There's a 4th part of the book, which I really like, a set of essays reflecting ideas of friends who read the first 3 parts of the book. And the 6th part of the book, I purposely skipped on the 5th part for a moment. The 6th part of the book is actually me taking all of the first parts of the book and asking GPT to rewrite my theory for happiness based on its understandings of my journey. And the fifth part of the book, just as a side note, is actually a mirror of the first four parts, written exclusively by an AI on behalf of an AI, writing about its own purpose in existence, its first conversations with humans, its prophecies for the future of AI, and even simulated conversations with other AIs, so to bring about more ideas. So I caused GPT to speak with Sydney, that was Microsoft's AI, and Bard, that was Google's AI, which today is called Gemini. And that's the book as a whole. The third part, the prophecies about the business world, further encouraged me to open my company, ARC, because it solidified my understanding of the market that I was in and why artificial intelligence was going to make a big difference there, and it was worthwhile opening a company in that space. And I'll just give the bottom line of the book, even though it's a funny read. It's a whimsical sort of book, and I don't try to be too serious there, even though there are some very serious moments. I think that prompting happiness arrives at the following two conclusions. We humans are very much like artificial intelligence. A lot of us will say to ourselves that we are conscious and it is not, that we are sentient and it is not, that we are not statistical and it is statistical. In reality, after having prompted GPT for over 20,000 times, we don't really know how conscious we are. That's the reality. We've been asking that for thousands of years. Even if we do have choice in the quantum realm, GPT seems to LLMs seem to also make some quantum choices here and there, and I show it in the book. Does that mean they have choice? Or is it just a random effect for a cause? And given that we're similar, we can understand something about ourselves. When you go into an LLM and give it a laconic one-line instruction, write me a song, it'll write you a piece of crap. And then you'll complain that AI isn't good. But if you go into GPT and you give it a set of complicated instructions, it will write a masterpiece that you couldn't have written yourself. Same goes with us humans. If we tell ourselves, be happy, be mindful, be grateful, lose weight, it'll produce a piece of crap. We'll produce a piece of crap for ourselves. But if we break down our day and our habits into granular, plans and are thorough with ourselves, we will achieve results that are masterpieces for ourselves. That's the bottom line from the book. And I hope it helps, the listeners here. I spoke about what the bottom line of the book is, but I think I can get into a little bit more detail. So the last part of the book is my revised theory for happiness. And the revised theory for happiness is actually a pyramid. It's similar to the pyramid I wrote for myself when I was 18, but the LLM changed a few things on purpose because it identified that I went through some change over the course of the last 23, 24 years. The bottom part of the pyramid are 3 or 4 unconditional aspects of life that we must have, which are, and the main one there, aside from retaining your health and your body, is containing and retaining a positive approach to life as much as you can. That's the main part. And then also building and focusing on your relationships. The second tier is about processes that you commit to, so that eventually they turn from hobbies into a part of your identity. Like, for example, I don't dance salsa as a hobby. I've been dancing salsa for the last 15 years, and it is a part of my identity. Same goes for other people who do yoga or karate or tai chi, etc. And then the top part is just a changing, personalized list of tangible things that we pursue. But the idea behind the book is, can I write sub-prompts that will instruct me to achieve these things? And the book ends with 4 chapters, with that each of the chapters are lists of self-prompts to myself about how to retain a positive approach to life, then how to make money and keep it, and how to handle my finances, how to be original with keeping a strong relationship with my spouse and my friends and my daughters. And also at the end, how some things that I tell myself and to keep my body as healthy as I can. Regarding the prompts for positive approach to life, just by way of example, my most useful self-prompt to keep a positive approach to life is to reverse engineer for best intentions. What that means is that when sometimes things happen to us that cause us negative feelings, cause us to feel bad. Sometimes that happens from the inside. Sometimes you can pin the blame on an external factor. And my prompt in that situation is to always take that external factor, identify that person or entity, and immediately start with, no human wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to be the villain on this planet today. Everyone is the hero of their own story. The next part is to walk back from the action that they took against you or that made you feel bad to their best intentions. So just reverse engineer to their best intentions. And in chapter 34 of the book, I actually did that. I stress tested this prompt on the worst thing that happened in my life throughout my existence, which is the October 7th attacks on Israel. I took a Hamas operative. They caused us a lot of grief and pain, and I reversed engineered to best intentions, to their best intentions, why they are not the villain in their minds. Now, the conclusion does not in any way influence the action that you take against that external factor. The action that you take against that external factor has nothing to do with this prompt. That's a completely different discussion. But if you run this prompt on yourself, you will feel a sense of relief. Because if you are surrounded by external factors causing you grief, you can take action against them if you understand them. If you are simply surrounded by random evil, then you stay in your house and you don't walk out. So that's the idea there. This prompt does not influence how you act. It influences how you feel inside and how you stay positive. And that's what I'd like some of the people here to maybe take away from this, because we live in a world where sometimes pain happens and we like to pin the causes of this pain into some imaginary entities that are out there to get us, when this is really likely not the case. They are just promoting their own interests. Perhaps we need to take action against them, but they're not out there to get us. So we can feel better about that and act accordingly. That's the positive approach to life one. There are others. There are many others. In fact, there's a website, promptinghappiness.com, where I ask my readers to add their own self-prompts for different things in their life. So it's not an exhaustive list.
Sun and snow will fold your back, and no fear will ever spy. It's gonna take a while to take place, so use your courage and guide. And here
Well, I really loved being a part of this podcast. It's been so different to all the other interview experiences that I've had. And it really challenged me to formulate a message that would be helpful to the readers without being led along. And I really enjoyed it. So thank you. If I'm thinking about what the listeners might want to hear, well, I spoke a lot about my book. My book includes a list of prompts, self-prompts for happiness. That's why it's called Prompting Happiness. But I do not own the exhaustive list for self-prompts to happiness. And there is a website called promptinghappiness.com where you can both get the book and read the community's prompts and add your own prompts to happiness. So that's one. Two, the book is on Amazon, Prompting Happiness, and I am on Instagram, just Nimrod Vromen, all connected. But since all the listeners here, or many of the listeners here are entrepreneurs and they're starting their own businesses, I also want to divert your attention to a website that my startup company just opened. It's called ARC Media Network, ARC with a K, Media Network, allconnected.com. It is a content repository and media network for entrepreneurs. It includes contracts, a magazine of articles, podcasts. I'm going to add this one to it for sure, by the way, after this experience. And it includes a video series that I produced. It was actually the first creative thing that I've ever done called Startup Confidential. And that will give the entrepreneurial listeners here a chance to hear the stories of 4 amazing startups and their journeys and learn a lot about that process for them to benefit from. So thank you again, and hope to see you soon.
21st Century Entrepreneurship with Martin Piskarik.
Imagine a space where triumphs, trials, and tales of entrepreneurship come alive. Welcome to the 21st Century Entrepreneurship Podcast, a gold awarded journey hosted by Martin Piskarik, connecting with listeners in 95 countries and ranking in the top 0.5% of all podcasts. Join our exclusive community, elevate your perspective, and embark on the path to success.